We're back, joined by our political roundtable, and look at this finding from our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll about how people feel about where the country's headed. Look at that, 63% think the country's off on the wrong track. Mark McKinnon, you know, as a political pro, that's a really good indication of the independent vote and where that independent vote might actually go. This was the scene this week, the No Labels launch, the idea of an independent political movement that could somehow break ties, and you had some pretty big figures on the right and the left, but you've also been accused of childish, magical thinking. That was Frank Rich in the New York Times today. The idea that the heavy lifting of moving the country forward could be accomplished by a no-labels group is, on many on the left and the right, just unthinkable.
Well, the 63% of Americans are disenfranchised with what's happening in Washington because they have this harsh, poisonous environment and harsh partisanship. 1,000 people representing all 50 states came to New York to help launch this effort called No Labels, which is designed to bring more civility to politics and address the hyper-partisanship. And we've had a great success already because we brought together the harsh partisans on the left and the harsh partisans on the right, Rush Limbaugh, Frank Rich. They're all attacking us because they think it's magical thinking when Cory Booker works with Governor Christie working together for solutions. They don't want that because it doesn't help their ratings, it doesn't help their profits. You know, Frank Rich attacked us in the New York Times today saying that we only had 3 black speakers. Well, he obviously didn't watch the event, or he's doing sloppy research, because we had 3 prominent featured African-American speakers, including Mayor Booker, who spoke about all the things that he's doing as mayor there. So it's been a tremendous response we're getting from the middle of America, who think that we need to work together like the Vice President said.
Well, Joe, what about devil's advocate time here, which is, why don't we recognize that politics is not a dirty game, that people have deeply held ideological views and differences, and that, look what's happened in the Republican Party. It has become more conservative because a lot of Republicans thought, and even independents, that it got away from basic principles.
Well, sure, but as we've been saying for 2 years on our show, this is still James Madison's Constitution. You have Frank Rich on the left, enraged by what Mark's doing, Rush Limbaugh on the right, enraged, and they have the luxury of never actually governing, never being a president, never being a senator, never being in Congress, realizing that you actually have to, at the end of the day, sit down and deal with people across the aisle. You want to talk about magical, childish thinking? To quote Joan Didion, Frank Rich and the left have had a year of magical thinking right now, where they believed they could get absolutely everything they wanted, and when they didn't get it, they became petulant and went off in the corner. What did that end up getting them? Well, about 80, 85 newly elected Republicans in the House of Representatives. We govern in the middle. We always have. With apologies to Arthur Schlesinger, there's not a pendulum swing ideologically in America. America stays in the middle, and we saw it. And when you go too far left, they slap you back, and when Republicans go too far right, they slap you back as well.
Mayor Booker, here's the question I have for how President Obama tries to channel that vibe in the country. What does he do to actually make the politics difficult for Republicans now, because it hadn't been that difficult up till now?
But this is what's ridiculous, and this is where I think President Obama, his experience on streets in Chicago really helped out. You've got real people. In my city, you've got real people who don't care about politics or process. They're looking for progress. And when it comes to issues like this tax bill, the president made a compromise to help Americans who are desperately in need. And this is what frustrates me. Seeing what's going on in Newark every single day, I cannot advance our city with a Republican governor unless we find common ground. Some of the best advancements we've had working with the Manhattan Institute on issues around ex-offender reentry. There's enough common ground in the United States of America for us to stop this silly pulling left and right, which is good for the ratings, but has nothing to do with moving our country
Andrea,
forward.
I know you want, I'm sure